All right. I don't know who Alien American is. When did they join? Is there a way to look up when people joined the server? I doubt it. That sucks. Thanks for answering, Scott. Hey, there's Adam. Adam doesn't want to talk to me. Or wait, am I? Oh no, that's not me. It's so weird seeing House of Auger with my face on it, and I have to think to myself, "Oh yeah, that's not me." I I don't know who Alien American is, but I can't get them to respond to me. I'm trying to let them know that the show's over here. I went over, what's funny is I went into general voice chat and said, like, I spoke out loud. I was like, hey, I don't know if you can hear me, but if you're here for the show, it's on the other channel, the other voice channel. And then they muted themselves. And I was like, oh, all right, well, fuck you then. I wonder who that is. Mac, is that you? Is that like what you're using to... No, it can't be. It can't be Mac. Where's Alien is on a cell phone. Where are you? How do you know that? How do you know that? Is Alien you? Phone icon next to name. There's a phone icon? I don't see a phone icon. Oh, you can see. Well, aren't you special? That's bullshit. I should be able to see it too. I want all the same shit on the app. It's bullshit. Adam, how come you're not talking? I see you on there. I see you. I see you, bitch. My mic isn't working. Oh. Why'd you put that in AdMod chat? That's weird. Was that supposed to be secret? Did you not want anybody to know? Do you feel inadequate? Do you have mic insecurities? Trying to fix. They have a pill for that now. That'd be weird if they really did. It is 5:59. Boy, this is going to be one of those lazy shows. I can tell. Not even all of our co-hosts are here. They're going to roll in late. Mac's here. Mac was boom. He was before the show. Set up the live stream. He's good to go. And I found out why it's 6:00. So, Adam, Adam, are you the one recording tonight, or is Joel?
Hey guys, if Adam's able to, it would be helpful because Joel's having trouble getting Discord to open it all on his laptop. So.
Oh, okay. Who's this?
Nicole.
Oh wow, Nicole who?
Fuck
I don't know.
you.
I don't know Nicole. I don't know Nicole. I can't remember. I can't remember who that is.
That completely went over my head at first. I was like, who the fuck else would be talking about this laptop?
It's me, asshole. Oh, that's too funny.
Yes, you were.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
It's good to hear your voice.
I know, you too. Been too long. But is Adam here? Is he able to record?
He's working on his mic. He's having mic issues.
Oh.
Everybody's
so many issues.
Yeah, come to the HOA. Right now, there's Alien American. I don't know who that is, but they're texting in the rules section. Come to the HOA radio chat and connect there for the show. And then text. And then after that, go to the HOA radio text chat channel to.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yay.
I was getting all the signs that my mic was working, and then
Yeah.
you guys just weren't responding.
No.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was not
We're able
coming
to hear
through.
you just now.
Okay, that's weird.
I'm gonna move Alien American because it's bugging me that they're not over. So I'm gonna. It's my
What is
server.
general voice chat?
Yeah, they're in general voice chat, and I'm gonna move
Like,
them.
what is that channel?
Oh, were you not here for? Yeah, you were here last show. I explained everything then.
Yeah. Just tell me again. Obviously,
all right. So
wouldn't
I'll
be
explain
asking
again.
if I remember.
Okay. So general, you know how HOA radio chat is set up so that everyone except for the ad mods is muted,
Yes.
and we only use it typically during the show time. So I set up another voice chat because the whole point to adding all that stuff to the channel, all those different text channels and everything, was to make it a more viable server throughout the week, not just Tuesday 6 to 9. So people can use it whenever. And like
Right.
three or four people have been. At least somebody is. So the general voice chat is set up for when the show's not on. Nobody's muted. It's a regular voice channel. Anybody can jump on there. You're automatically able to speak. There's no restrictions, no limitations.
Okay. It just has nothing to do with the show.
It has nothing to do with the show.
Okay.
And the text channels are set up specifically. They're theme based or I guess themed. So you'll find that I'll be using some of these channels to post links and stuff that I'll refer to during the show. I'll probably end up just copying and pasting in the HOA show chat channel anyway.
Yeah.
But I use a lot of these. Mostly because I'm not, I'm zucked right now.
Right.
So all the stuff that I would normally post on Facebook, I've been posting here. So there's plenty of stuff for me. And there's, like I said, there's like 3 or 4 other people who every once in a while they'll jump in and be like, we don't want Josh to talk to himself. So we'll throw in a couple of things here and there. Robin does a good job of she'll be joining us. I'm sure she's going to listen in tonight. But she's preparing a presentation, which apparently she's going rather in depth about it. She's a really smart cookie. Like, she's way above me, which isn't hard to do, really. But that's 99% of the population anyway. But like, she's really smart. And she's got a presentation that she wants to bring to the show that connects like a bunch of different things, like transgender and social the social state of things today in America, blah blah blah. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that she went over it, and I forget which channel it was in now. I think it was in the war room or the general chat, the kitchen. I can't remember which, but she went over it, so it's there if anybody wants to look. It looks like it's going to be very interesting. So we're late for the show. Do we have somebody recording?
Adam?
Give me 1 second. And
all right.
will be. right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the House of Auger Show. My name is JT Auger. I'm the man of the house, and with me tonight are my co-hosts, Joel and Nicole, Adam LaHood, Adam Bates, Sativa might be here, McIntyre's here. I like calling him Mac. Does anybody remember the 50s when people called people Mac? It was like instead of Buddy.
In the movies, not in reality. We're not that old yet.
It happened in reality. Movies and reality are the same.
I'm just saying we don't remember the reality because we're not that old. We only remember from the movies.
So this is the Tuesday, March 5th, 2019 episode. I forgot to do that last time, so I want to make sure I get that done this time. So we're going to talk about a bunch of things. First, I'd like to get out. Oh, yeah, disclaimers and stuff. We will not be recording the show chat. When we put up the recordings of the show, it will just be the audio. And I know we decided that last time, but I want to make sure that that's clear to everyone so that you all feel safe and posting your horrific shit that you usually do. And which brings me to the next disclaimer. This is not a family-friendly show. If you are easily offended, please leave now. What else is there? I think that's it for disclaimers.
Yeah.
I would like to say, or take a moment to acknowledge Keith Flint of the Prodigy. Sorry, I had a brain freeze right there for a moment. So Keith Flint died just a couple days ago. He committed suicide, which is very sad.
Yeah.
I did not follow them after the 90s, but I understand that they were still going strong up until recently, like they were still playing and stuff, as far as I know. But they were rather transformative in the 90s. They were a big
They were
change. They were there. I mean, I was reading comments on a Reddit post about the news of this suicide, and it was very sad because a lot of people were talking about just how important especially their debut album Fat of the Land back in '93, how important that was. I guess the electronic music community kind of viewed that, at least industry-wise, they viewed that as the Prodigy's sellout album. But for a lot of fans and a lot of people, I mean, that music, it was groundbreaking at the time. There was really nothing like it. It was a definite mixture of electronica and rock, and just it was a different sound. It was a different
it really
feel.
was.
It was so you couldn't, for a few years there. I'd say throughout the 90s, really, there was nowhere you couldn't go anywhere without hearing one of these Prodigy songs. The Firestarter, Smack My Bitch Up. These songs are timeless now. You can hear them. Everybody recognizes those songs, and they're amazing songs. They really were. And are, I should say. So I just feel very sad that he's gone.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize that he had taken his own life. I knew he had died, but
he committed suicide.
Yeah.
I guess he hung himself.
I
don't know, man.
There's one of two possibilities. It's 50-50 shot of suicide or drug overdose.
I assume drug overdose like I normally do. I didn't take the time.
Had a 50-50 shot and you guessed wrong.
Yep.
What's so frustrating to me is that all the people I keep seeing celebrities and musicians who I remember from my youth and who I swear like got old overnight. Like, what happened? Who was it that I saw recently? I saw what's his name? Moranis? I want to say his first name's Greg. The Honey, I Shrunk the Kid guy.
Oh yeah. Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis, not Greg. You know who I think I was mixing? I think I was mixing Greg Louganis.
That's what
which I don't know why I was, but I was trying to think, like, why did I think his name was Greg? And that's what my head said to me. So, but yeah, I saw Rick Moranis. I saw him at some event, and he was talking to somebody, you know, one of those people on the side of the red carpet, you know, with their microphone,
right?
And you know, trying to get sound bites from the stars as they go by. I guess he was at some event, and man, all this I was like, dude, is that you? You got old. What happened? And it's just like, I don't like it because it makes me. It's too connected to my own mortality, and I don't like that at all. I'm not supposed to be able to get old, and the fact that they're getting old makes me aware that I'm older, and that's not appropriate at all.
It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Like, I'm still 21, as far as I know.
Exactly.
So, but on to other things. I want to have kind of a California crazy news corner where we talk about because there's some crazy shit going on in California right now. At least some of the stuff that I've recently been made aware of. It might not be all that current, but well, some of it. But first, and I'd like to take a moment. Can we unmute Pony Girl? Where is she at? There she is. Is she unmuted? She's probably not.
There, now she is.
You're unmuted.
I literally just put gas in my car. Give me like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, okay, no problem. I'm gonna break the story. So there's a thing happening here in Cali, at our Santa Anita racetrack. Oh, this is funny. We're gonna listen to. I guess we better mute her until she's ready.
I just.
All right. So,
there we go.
We're very easy.
There's a thing going on.
Like a small background noise.
Yeah, there's a thing going on at the Santa Anita racetrack. Here, I have a thing for this. Hang on. Here we go. So in they just had their 21st horse death in the last 2 months. 21 horses have died at the Santa Anita racetrack. Yeah, 7 of those deaths happened since the beginning of the year. It just seems, and they're saying, everybody who reports on it is like, this is remarkable. Like, this is unprecedented. This doesn't happen normally. So I'm over here wondering what the fuck is going on over at Santa Anita. And I guess some people are claiming, like, PETA's all pissed off about it. You know, PETA's always pissed.
Yeah,
but I kind of feel like they have a legitimate gripe here. Like, what the fuck? It just seems nobody seems to be able to give a definitive
reason.
Yeah. I know that I guess that people are initially blaming the weather. We've had a lot of inclement.
Yeah.
Whatever. We've had a lot of weather. That's not normal for California. A lot of rain, a lot of thunderstorms.
Yeah, it's been colder and rainier for y'all.
Yeah. Over the last 2 months, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But I find that hard to believe. I don't know, and this is kind of why I want Pony Girl to.
Oh yeah,
or Nicole Cannon. Nicole Cannon is. Yeah, she went to school for this kind of stuff. She knows all about horses. She grew up with horses. So if anybody has anything any ability to shed some light on this, I'd love to hear what she has to say.
Her. Yeah.
But so they shut down the track after the 19th or 20th. It had to be after the 20th horse death, for a couple of days to have some experts or the California Horse Racing Board come out and take a look at the track to make sure that the soil was okay and safe.
Yeah.
And they gave it, the green light. They opened the track back up after a couple of days, and bam, there's your 21st horse. And your 21st horse, I guess it broke its front right leg. It just seems shocking to me. Like, really? I find that hard to believe that just a fucked up track could cause 21 horses to die. That seems crazy to me.
Well, yeah. Nicole is unmuted.
They were all or mostly euthanized.
As far as I know, they're all been euthanized.
Oh, she is unmuted. Hey, there she is.
Hey!
So as far as I read into the story,
Uh-huh.
all but one of the horses, all but like the 16th horse or something stupid, was mechanical failure. And I use mechanical failure in the terms that it was skeletal, what happened to the horse, and not a heart attack. One of the horses died of a heart attack, which when you're racing horses is not normal, but it's sort of to be expected, 1 in 1,000, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you get to mechanical failure and you have 20 horses in 3 months breaking legs, you have to look at what the track initially looked at, which was the footing. And when you have rainy weather, you get sloppy footing. And what I don't think that people understand about horse racing is that those animals are worth a lot of money. And when you have horses worth a lot of money, you don't do what Allison is suggesting they do, and you don't not take care of it. Okay? I have worked with people. I have worked with racehorse people. I have worked with after the track people. My own animal was an old racehorse. Okay? She wouldn't have come to me in such good condition if she wasn't taken care of.
Right.
Right.
So the track shut down and looked at their sloppy footing, and they got some wahoo to tell them that, footing's A-okay. Well, it can't be. If you have animals breaking legs, you have sloppy footing. And just like you're not going to drive your very nice sports car on a road in New Jersey with potholes, you're not going to run your horses on a track that they're going to break.
Right.
They're breaking them on the grass. Joel says they're breaking them on the grass as well. On the grass track as well as the dirt.
When you install horse footing, and I use horse footing whether grass or dirt or whatever, when you install something that is used for animals to be on in a professional manner, it's not just grass. It's not just dirt. There is a whole $100,000 process for a 100-foot section of racetrack that goes into grading the dirt 6 feet down from the track that you see.
Oh.
It's hard clay. It's this, that, and the other. And when you have all those layers coming together, you have all those layers that can come apart.
Right.
My best guess is that you have not your footing layer, but your hard surface layer, which would be your hard packed clay, is deteriorating at that racetrack, and it's not being caught. You have potholes in places that they can't find.
Right.
Okay.
So it sounds like they're gonna have more injuries probably, since they're saying it's okay.
I would say that you're gonna get a lot more.
Jeez.
Here's my cure. See, when I first heard about this, being that I don't know enough about this, my first inclination was to think something fishy's going on. Like, this is not normal. Like, did somebody not pay somebody off and somebody's like taking it out on the horses? Like, what's going on? Is this mafia related? What's going on? Are horse heads going to be showing up in people's beds? What's the deal? That was my first thought, but now understanding a little better that it's probably the track, my curiosity is, or my first question is, why does it take 19 to 20 deaths before they stop and shut down the track and take a look at things.
Well, last year there was 14 dead horses by this point in the year.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Horse racing is very, very hard on the animals, and this is a very long, heated discussion. But the gist of it is that the animals that you see running the Kentucky Derby aren't more than 3 years old. They're babies.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, that gives you a real view on it.
Yeah, I had this question in mind, but this makes me want to ask it even more now, knowing that they're only 3 years old. What is your view? What's the general view on horse racing? Is this considered humane? Is it considered inhumane? What is the horse community, equestrians? How do they feel about this? Because it seems a little inhumane.
Horse people are the worst people to ask this because we all have differing opinions.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you get all the way to one side, you get it's an industry, it's a business, they're animals, they're treated like investors.
What happened?
I think we lost her.
She's in the car.
She's in the car driving, so she may have lost signal. There she is.
Sorry.
You're cutting out, sweetheart. You were saying that some people say it's a business, it's an industry, and the horses are treated like a commodity.
Yeah, so you get the one side of this argument. It's a very big argument in the horse community.
Okay.
Because obviously there are a million ways to do things, and my way is the only way to do it.
It's exactly like cattle, then.
It's exactly like cattle. It's like any industry you're going to get into.
Right.
So one side of that, you have people that it's an industry, it's business. If these horses weren't racing, what would they be doing? Which would be dying. They would be food. And the other side of it is almost like PETA-ish, where this is inhumane, this is cruel. We're forcing them to do something they don't want to do. Which is also, in its own sense, true. It's a whole sort of back and forth of truth, and you have to look at it like, no, these animals were not meant to be stressed like that early in life. Just like humans, horses have growth plates, and they don't close until they're 6 or 7 years old. So when you're running horses as 3-year-olds, it's like making, a 6-7-year-old kid run a marathon. Their bones aren't up to it.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, this is
so how do you justify that?
How do you justify what? Because there's a lot of justification that go on.
That's not a justification. That's just an excuse. Like, how do you justify that equivalent of saying, you just said it's like having your 6-year-old run a marathon, their bones aren't ready for it. So how do you justify that, knowing that that's the equivalent? How do you justify, let's do this with these horses? I mean, money's not really a justification, is it?
Really outraged. If you want to hear something that'll make you really outraged, the long bones in a horse aren't solidified until they're 6 years old. So the long bones in a horse, their leg bones, are still cartilage in the center when they're racing them in the Kentucky Derby. Is that fucked up? That's fucked up.
That's very fucked up.
I mean, I'm laughing, but only out of shock and awe. Like, wow, man, that's
the whole thing that you don't understand, that people, the general public, doesn't know, and that's what keeps part of the industry running.
Can you imagine if there was some part of the world where they were forcing children to engage in some sort of physical sport that where 14 of the kids died 2 months into the year? That's normal. We have that many deaths annually by this time of the year. It's probably the track.
You ever seen the videos that come out of Chinese gymnastics academies?
Oh, no. I don't think I have.
If you ever get the chance, go watch them force 3-year-olds to do splits, and you'll understand what's happening in the horse racing industry.
You know what? Speaking of seeing people force people to do splits, I remember seeing, God, this is years ago. I saw I think there was a documentary about sumo wrestlers. And they were, I guess, even though sumos are big, they have to be very limber. And so they were forcing them to spread their legs and kind of do a splits deal. And this one kid, a young sumo, new to the, I guess, game or whatever, he's in the training. There's a bunch of these sumo wrestlers all doing this stretching exercise together, and he couldn't quite get his legs completely stretched out, and so they fucking set, like 2 or 3 people sit on him, and he's like groaning in pain. Oh, and you're like, Jesus Christ, this is not, that's not acceptable. You can't just do that to people. But I guess, I don't know. No pain, no gain, I guess.
So the justification for running young animals like that is that, first off, it's a time over money thing. So it takes money every month, every day, every week to raise these animals. And if they're just as fast as 5-year-olds as they are as 3-year-olds, or they actually start racing horses as early as 18 months.
Whoa.
Yeah, it fucks you up, right? They'll start racing horses as early as 18 months. If they're just
that's
as
crazy,
as they are when they're 5, why not just race them then, get a couple good years out of them, and get rid of them?
Well, they're expensive, right?
Yeah, they're expensive.
I don't know, man. It just seems...
What they're doing by horse racing is trying to make back the money that they put into them, but they can't make back their money on every horse, which is why there's 1 million horses racing. One of them is like a grade 2, grade 3, grade 1 stakes winner and makes back some of the money you spent on the other ones. It's gambling. It's all gambling.
Wow. I don't have a problem with gambling per se. Most gambling deals with cards. You know what I mean? Or dice or something like that. You don't have to feel bad about the dice because the dice will get old and then you have to put the dice down. I don't know. I don't give a fuck about people mostly, but animals I kind of care about. So that's kind of fucked up.
So the justification in my head, because I am opposed to horse racing, even though it might sound like it, I'm not.
Okay.
Because I've seen the care that the majority of these animals get, and I know the standards that are placed and the stress that is placed on the racing industry to keep healthy horses. If those horses weren't racing, like if they did with horse racing what they did with greyhound racing in Florida, they're just going to go somewhere else where they think they can make money. You're not going to stop a whole industry.
Yeah, no, well, especially because it's so ingrained. Like it's so
ingrained. And so you take care of these animals, and do the right thing, and you race them, and you take care of them, and you ride them, and you take care of them, and then when they're done running or they're not fast enough, which is what it comes down to, you take care of them. It's fine. Like, I got my horse. She was a semi-fast racehorse. And they were like, yeah, this horse is kind of nice. So she made 7 babies over her 11-year breeding career. And then they were like, this can't make any more babies. We're going to give it away. And I got her.
Oh, wow.
So my horse could have ended up on a meat truck, but she didn't because the people cared about her.
On a meat truck?
Yeah, people eat horses.
Yeah.
In America?
They ship them to Canada and Mexico in these horrendous, like, Holocaust-type conditions, and then they hit them in the head with the bolt guns so that the French Canadians can eat them.
Yeah,
are you fucking kidding me? I didn't know that. See, this is why we should build a wall. Fuck those guys.
Build all the walls.
Yeah, man, that's not right.
Make sure it's
I mean, if there's a recession and people, if there's not enough food, that's when you start eating your pets. And then that's okay. That's just survival. But if you're in the lap of luxury and you're like, hey, let's just eat weird shit. I don't know, man. And that's just kind of fucked up. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's okay.
No, I agree.
What do I know?
Up. Especially because, unlike cattle, you only eat one muscle in the whole horse.
Wait a minute. Are you fucking kidding? What do they do with the rest of the horse?
They put it in a big old grinder and they make it dog food.
I was about to ask if it was dog food. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, you know what? I mean, on the plus side of that, that's a hell of a lot better than just throwing it away.
Yeah. True. The what would be, I think, Nicole, would be the fillet, like the back straps.
Yeah.
That's all you eat on a horse.
Wow. That's
the rest meat
not much.
No, it's not much. And it's shorter than a cow.
It's like the crawfish of mammals. There's only a tiny bit for all that effort.
You get to eat a morsel. Hope you enjoyed your pony.
Hey, you know what? Do you guys remember Faces of Death? And there was that scene where a bunch of people were at a table, and I guess it had a hole in the center, and they put a monkey. Yeah.
I saw that when I was probably 9 years old, and it has fucked me up for my whole life.
Well, guess what? Guess what I found out? That scene is fake.
Oh.
Really?
I'm not. That's what I learned, or that's what I read about. But hey, what's up, TC Boggs? Hey, Saint Face, you should be able to unmute yourself if you want to join in. Oh, but you're usually like doing stuff with food or noise or something. I don't know.
No, as luck would have it, today was supposed to be my apprentice's first day, so I spent the last couple days letting shit pile up so that she could learn the ropes. That's who didn't show up today.
Fuck you, Dagger fella. Why did you just change it from the full word to FGT? This isn't Facebook. Nobody's gonna zuck you. You fucking dumb, you dipshit faggot fuck. I hate you. No, I don't. But it's fun. Anyway, so Robin, by the way, I let everybody know that you have a presentation that you're preparing that'll probably be ready for next week. Or whenever you're ready. If it's ready next week, awesome. But I told everybody about it. Yup. Nice. So Highway, I don't know who you are, but I see
that's one of mine.
Awesome. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Let's see. So now I want to talk about California and some of the crazy ass fucking shit that's going on here. So there's a few little news tidbits that I'm going to go through. So let's see. I'm going to shut some things down here. Let's get rid of that. We just talked about that. So I didn't know about this when it happened. I'm surprised I didn't get to... I don't have any recollection of this at all. I don't know how it got past me. But anyway, LA is paying out... it just recently hit the news that LA is paying out $2 million to a rape victim who was raped by 2 Los Angeles police officers. Luis Valenzuela and James C. Nichols. This is the first of several payouts that are going to be happening, apparently. I guess these 2 guys, Nichols and Valenzuela, here, you know what? Let me grab this link for everybody.
My reckless driving ticket, if the cop was like, bend over and I won't give you this, I would have done. All right, that was like $1,200 to $1,800 that I didn't need to pay this. I would have taken it for that.
A high fine.
So that is a high fine.
91.
So these guys from 2008 to 2011 were just raping women, and I guess they were mostly like informants, female informants for drug investigators or and stuff like that, drug-related crimes. So it was kind of an abuse of power. Well, not kind of. Just a little bit. I mean, not that big of a deal. But both men have been sentenced to 25 years in state prison. Obviously, they'll have to register as sex offenders. But you know, in all of this, I feel like the real story isn't being told here. And the real story is that a Hispanic male and a white male worked together in, you know, to promote diversity. And I think that that's important to remember. Let's not lose sight of the fact that diversity in this case works. This is proof that when we come together, we can make things happen. It doesn't have, we don't have to fight.
Racial harmony.
This is diversity working, folks. I don't, you know, I think that that's the lesson.
If only it was a Jew and a Christian and a Muslim doing it, then multiculturalism for the win.
Transgender.
Spell out coexist across her back.
Oh my god. So that was fucked up. I don't know how I missed this when it was happening. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I was probably high. So that was going on. And then here's some more good police work going on. 3 more have been arrested in a case involving an LA sheriff deputy stealing $645,000 and 1,200 pounds of weed in a fake bust. Yeah, man, like, dude, our cops are the best. 3 men accused of conspiring with an LA. I'm gonna read a little bit. I'll try not to make it a lecture. I just want to get some of this out. Conspiring with a LA County Sheriff's deputy, perform a fake raid on a marijuana warehouse. Like I said, they stole 1,200 pounds, $645K in cash. They were arrested Thursday. These most recent arrests come just weeks after LA Sheriff's deputy Mark Antrim agreed to plead guilty to federal charges in connection with the armed robbery last October. This is our police force out here. Like, it's really, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not representative or indicative of all of our police, but it's certainly. I mean, at least they're not shooting people. I should say this is a bonus. Like, we've stopped just killing people. Oh, that is a thing that happened, though. I almost forgot about that. There's another thing. God damn it, I didn't pull up a link for that. Here, I'll give you the link for this. I guess there was 2 cops went looking for a suspect in Sacramento, I think it was, who was, here's the link. He was breaking into cars, I think it was, and they had tracked somebody. Yeah, it was a black male. They traced him, or they followed him to his grandmother's backyard. And approached him, and I guess I think they chased him there. And I guess he turned around, had a metal object. I think this was last year when this shooting happened. He had a metal object, and he came forward at the officers. Apparently, in a sort of a from everything I've heard.
I know what
sort
you're
of an assaulting.
about. Yeah.
It's sort of an assaulting or a like hostile manner.
Gesture. Yeah.
Yeah. So he turned around, came at them, had a metal object, and they they fucking shot him down. Turned out he had a phone in his hand. The autopsy later shows that he was chock full of fucking drugs. They had their man. It's not like he was some innocent dude that they fucking mistook for the actual perp. No, this is the guy. This is totally the guy who was fucking breaking in or stealing cars or robbing cars or something. And they did an investigation because he was unarmed. So everybody, of course, that's what they focused on. He's black. He's unarmed. This is racism, and that was as far as it went. Like the community and Sacramento City immediately went up in arms. California is known for their anti-cop sentiment. So the investigation was done, and the judge just came out. I don't remember what circuit, like 7th Circuit Court judge or something like that, came out and said there will be no charges filed. These cops did nothing wrong. And now, of course, the community is pissed.
Well, because they did kill an unarmed man.
Yeah, but they legitimately thought he had a gun, I think.
Yeah, but they killed an unarmed man.
Okay, but here's the thing. Hold on now.
Tells you to do, you deserve to get your shit shot.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't.
I totally.
The government shouldn't get to just kill you because you do something or what they consider stupid. Remember, cops can do whatever they want and get away with it, and it's just horseshit.
If you are told to lay down with an authoritative command, and you don't lay down, and you keep your hands up, and you swing your iPhone at them, fucking shoot them, because you don't know what the phone is.
Oh yeah, that iPhone's real fucking dangerous. You deserve to die for that.
I've got one.
Fuck, you're a fucking bootlicker, Nicole.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Whoa!
Oh,
God
I had
damn,
to.
it's getting heavy in here. Okay, so here's the deal.
Love you, Nicole.
Joel, I love you too, but I'll fight you.
Antifa. See, I err on the side. I'm with Pony Girl on this.
Do your children, Auger.
Here's my reasoning, and this is the best. I'm about to repeat something that I heard, but it's a valid argument, and it's the best I've heard yet as to why this is not something that the police did wrong. And here's the thing: these guys are out there in the one job where their life is at risk on a daily basis. They're dealing with people who are breaking the law. That's their job. And those people tend to run, fight, and if they can't, you corner them, and they'll try and kill you. Not all of them, not everyone, but that happens. And that's your job. And in those situations, you can't really take risks. If you take a risk, if you guess wrong, you know what? I can't tell if the guy's got a weapon or not. I'm going to assume he doesn't, and then you're wrong. That's your ass. You're dead. So I don't really see how it makes sense that you have to.
The cost of being, because it's it's not like the police are like, oh, he's got an iPhone, let's shoot him.
Right.
It looks like he has something that could very well be a weapon.
But it wasn't. So why aren't they held responsible? Hold on, stop. If you're an individual who thinks that you're in danger from somebody, say you get into a fight or whatever, and you shoot somebody because you think they have a gun, and in reality they only have an iPhone, guess what? You're going to prison. Yes, you are. So why is it?
No.
Most likely you will. You will at least go to trial, almost certainly.
Well, you'll go to trial.
The fact that there's a huge double standard where they get away with it, and because of qualified immunity, which is a horrible fucking thing, they can't be held responsible in any way. Even if they can't be held criminally liable, they can't be held civilly liable. And guess what? This is a choice they make to choose this job. So no, I don't actually have a whole lot of sympathy for them because they kill too many fucking people.
Hold on. Now, see, this is so funny because I used to be just like you, if not worse. Like I was totally 5-6 years ago, I was hashtag kill all cops, man.
I'm not saying to kill cops. I'm just saying they get away with killing too easily.
Responsible, just like a normal citizen should.
Yes.
Here's my issue with that. You have to take into account that the average citizen's interaction in a scenario that is life or death is on average, like it's rare. You know, most of us don't deal with that. Cops deal with it that's part of the job. So the idea that you can compare the two, that you can't. It's not the same. Because of that disparity. You're dealing with life and death situations on a regular basis because it's part of your job. So the idea that, and don't we all know the game now? How many people have been shot because they've been mistaken, because they came at the cop and they're like, oh, I didn't mean anything by it. I was going to come and give you a hug. Or they pulled something out of their pocket really fast. Hey man, I was just going to call my mom and tell her I was getting arrested, and the cops shot him because, you know, how many times does that have to happen before we all figure out what the fuck the rules are, before we know what the game is? Like, you're going to tell me now today that oh, I didn't know, I thought I could pull my phone out real fast while running at the cops and it was acceptable. I didn't know that was going to get me shot. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. That's stupid.
There have been several cases where I actually agree that the cops should have been held accountable like a normal citizen, because the choices they made were wrong and ridiculous. This one,
I'm not going to say that never happens.
I don't feel that way about this one. From what I've heard and what I've read, I truly believe that they thought they saw a gun. They thought their lives were in danger. They made the decision to shoot. But there are other cases where I don't feel that way. So,
and you know what? I've gone through
cases like that. You know,
I'm not going to say that
either way.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say cops never, you know, like that scenario never happens. I just, over the years, I've changed my tune. I used to think that was the norm, where that was, you know, 99% of the cases where violence was met or somebody's life was, you know, lost in an altercation with the cops. I thought automatically that meant you had corrupt cops, when in fact, over the years, I've seen endless accounts of people not following directions, being non-compliant, and thinking that they can act out in hostile or aggressive ways, and the cops is going to assume that they're, you know, this is somebody who doesn't mean harm. He's just got an attitude. That's all it is. Like, no, they can't take that risk. The guy with the attitude could be the guy who. Oh, go ahead.
One of the cases I was referring to that was fucked up is the one that John McIntyre just shared. It's in the hotel hallway.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that one. There's plenty of examples like that where the police are in the wrong, and they should be prosecuted.
Yeah. And
I'm not. Nobody's like contradicting.
No, not at all.
That video. That's one of the ones that I've never been able to get out of my head. That video is fine.
That's one. So, I mean, the guy's clearly unarmed. He's slow. He's obviously intoxicated, or you know,
he's doing the best he can to follow the directions.
Right. He's trying to comply while he's clearly under the influence, and the cop just was on a power trip, on a power high. Obviously that happens, and yes, that cop is wrong, and in those kinds of scenarios, absolutely, I'm against that, and that should never happen. But to completely negate that cops deal with people who push the boundaries and legitimately make these cops feel like their lives are at risk is impossible. There was an article, I should have looked that up. There was an article by a guy who was completely biased against cops, saying that he believed that, you know, most of this was police corruption, cops were on power trips, and that, you know, the total leftist perspective on police and law enforcement. And he went through I think a 2-week LEO VR training thing, not virtual reality, but like, I think it was like a camp kind of training thing where they put you through scenarios. And with all his bias, his article that he wrote was like, I had no idea. I've been completely turned around. You know, you don't know in the heat of battle when things are, you know, I pulled my weapon at the wrong times. I didn't pull my weapon when it was the right time. Like, it's really difficult to know what you're supposed to do, and it's really hard to hold them. It's just.
Let me interject. Cops are trained to use one level of force higher than what they're presented. So when you only had a knife, why'd you pull a gun on him? Is because the knife is like a lethal weapon at one tier, and a gun is a lethal weapon at a tier above. So if the guy was barehanded, the cop can pull out a baton and be justified, but he can't pull out a gun unless the guy has his hands on him. And that's where a lot of this comes from. It's like, why the fuck did you shoot him? He had a knife. He was 10 feet away from you. Well, if he starts running at you with that knife, suddenly you have a very lethal weapon, and there's no stopping somebody with a knife.
Right.
Cops are trained to protect themselves above protecting the idiot on the other end.
And why shouldn't they be?
And why shouldn't they be? And why shouldn't they be justified protecting
Because they
themselves?
don't know if that person is actually guilty or not, and that's a citizen that
hold on. I'm not arguing that point.
Because they totally have time to be like, let's really think about this rationally as somebody what could be able to weapon.
I agree that if they fuck up and they're legitimately in the wrong, that they should be held accountable. I'm not arguing that point at all. I just think that there are times where citizens push the boundaries and think, and then they get to, they get fucking shot and killed because they fucked around, because cops don't know any better. If I got some guy, dude, I'm not even a cop. If you come at me and you got something in your hand, I'm gonna just assume that that's something to hurt me with, a weapon of some sort, and I'm not gonna wait to see. Fuck you and your phone. You shouldn't fucking come at me. Like, don't do that. So to think that a cop would think any differently, these are human beings just the same as us. Why would they? I'm not saying they shouldn't be held to a standard. Of course they should.
I want to know, Joel, why
there has to be some metal.
Like, do you believe that they really didn't think it was a gun?
I don't care. They're wrong, therefore they have to be prosecuted. If you're wrong in what you do, you face some sort of, if it's just manslaughter, fine. But yeah, if you're wrong, if you killed somebody who didn't, who was actually no threat, then you're fucked up.
But I think that.
But how do you know that he wasn't a threat? Why was he coming at them?
Because we're talking about a matter of.
Let me put it this way: I would prefer that innocent citizens stay alive and at the loss of a few more cops, in my view.
Oh,
this isn't the 50s anymore, though. This isn't where you've got kids going to the hop and fucking ice cream socials.
So, what's that got to do with anything?
That's not legitimate.
You citizen. They didn't just shoot some random guy in his grandmother's backyard because they felt like it.
An armed man, so they were wrong.
Anyway,
didn't he come at them though? Why are we negating that?
Shoot him.
What we're talking about is like a random event, and as in probabilistically random, and. For you to say, okay, if they're wrong, they need to be punished, that's basically saying, even though what you're doing is statistically correct,
I agree.
Still be penalized. I don't agree with that. You should always take the statistically safe route. And if somebody's charging at you and you don't know if they're armed or not, but you think that they might be, the statistically correct thing to do is to stop them.
Assume the worst.
Joel, baby.
Even if you're wrong sometimes,
baby.
That's still the better thing overall.
If you jump in a pen with one of your bulls and he charges at you, Are you gonna sit there and be like, maybe he'll stop?
That's not at all the same thing. So
Only if he waves his cell phone around.
Ultimately, look, what we're trying to say is that Black people in ghetto communities are the same as charging bulls. All right, that's ultimately what. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I know that's not what you're trying to say. I'm not saying that. Where it's all good stuff.
So you're saying that a human life is worth no more than a bull. That's good.
Still depends on the bull.
No, of course we're not. No, I don't think that's what she's saying.
Yeah, there are $100,000 bulls. So.
Yeah, but not $100,000 people.
Well, I heard that what's her name, Jennifer Lopez, like her butt cheeks are insured for like $1 million or something like that.
I'm sure it is.
What'd you say?
And Beyonce's legs.
Oh, Beyonce's legs. You know what? I mean, don't get me wrong, Beyonce's all right, but if anybody's legs need to be insured, it's Tina Turner's. Like, that woman's fucking 80. She's still got the hottest legs in town.
Yep.
Well, Joe, I want to offer an olive branch. I will agree with you that
Joel,
life
you down and
life is important.
Fuck you.
No, I agree with you that cops should be held to a standard, that life is important, and that they can't just shoot first and ask questions second all the time. Like, there are legitimate instances where cops go above or beyond their justified level of violence or what have you, their justified response, and they abuse their power, and that definitely has to be accounted for. It has to be addressed when it happens.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said it's so often not, unfortunately. But now,
right, I agree with you.
Most police shootings are completely justified statistically. I don't remember what the number is, but the vast majority are justified in what they're doing. But the small number that aren't, one, get more headlines, of course, and two, should be held to a high standard, to me. And to me, they're not held to a high enough standard, I don't think.
I agree that there's still a sort of a community of protection that exists among the LEOs and the DOJ, where there's sort of a frat boy camaraderie that going on, where those who do cross the line often tend to go unpunished. And that I'll agree. While I agree that most cops, like you said, are justified in what they do, those who do cross the line very, very rarely seem to get held accountable.
It is rare. Yeah.
So I agree with you, brother. That needs to be fixed. So just real quick off topic of California, I want to talk about sports just real quick. For those of you who are football, or I'm sorry, basketball.
I love
not football, not football. Basketball.
I love all sports ball.
Okay, good. So you're if you're a fan of basketball and you're a fan of LeBron James, I just want to say, haha, fuck you guys.
Right? Right?
That motherfucker went into what do they call that? The Western Conference?
Yeah.
Which, from what little I did, what little I've learned,
the better conference. Yes.
It's well, not just by better, not just the better conference, but the far more difficult.
Right. That's what
conference.
I mean, yeah.
Like, that's a rough conference to play in.
Top to bottom,
you've got to really be talented.
Right.
And I think it's funny to me that LeBron went from Eastern to Western, and in Eastern he was the golden child. Mm-hmm. And everybody, including him, thought, well, that's just going to, of course, be the case still here in the West. And since he's joined the Lakers, that shit has not been the case. They just lost to the Clippers if I understand it correctly, that's their 15th loss in a row or something like that.
I don't know if it's in a
All I
row.
know is
It's a shit ton. Yeah, they only have a 1% chance of making the playoffs now. And
this, from what I understand, they're prior to them playing the Clippers, it was being stated that if they lose to the Clippers, it essentially means their season is shit. It's done. It's over.
Yeah.
They're done. And lo and behold, they fucking lost. And LeBron, oh my God, I get such glee because he kind of comes across as sort of a
cocky,
smug. Yeah, he's kind of smug and cocky. And he came here. We have a local news journalist, and this just goes to show you how much I know because I can't fucking remember the guy's name, but he's a regular over on KFI, but he's been a huge fan of the Lakers. The Lakers always have known him. He's been reporting on the Lakers for 15 years. And I guess when LeBron first came over and he did like a press briefing where he sat down and all the local press were there to ask him questions. This guy stood up and said, asked him, hey, so I understand you've got like this business going on and this other, you got your hands in a couple of different pies. How difficult is that for you to maintain, your level of professional basketballmanship, whatever, and keep those businesses going? And LeBron was rude to him. He was like, if you know me, you already know. If you've been following my career, then you already know the answer to that. So obviously, do you know who I am? And it's like, whoa. Whoa there, boy! Why don't you quit swinging your dick around, dude? Fucking put that shit away. You don't need to be like that. That was fucking rude, and so it just does my heart good to see him kind of get knocked down a peg or two. Yeah. And I'm laughing at everybody who fucking is a fan of his. So if you're a fan of his, ha.
It was funny. I was listening to Houston Sports Talk this afternoon, and one of the two guys is a huge LeBron fan, and there's the big debate on who's the best ever. Is it LeBron or is it Michael Jordan? And this guy's like, he goes, until the last couple months, I still would have said LeBron, just slightly over Jordan. But after seeing how he's been playing recently and just checking out of games, he's like, yeah, no, you'd never see Michael do that.
No. Nope. Yeah, I'm sorry, LeBron. He's no Michael, and he's no Kareem. He's no, you know what I mean? Like he's just there.
He's supremely gifted at what he does. But yeah, now he
doesn't measure up in my opinion. Like I grew up when I was a kid, the Lakers were the shit, man.
Oh, well,
like the 1980s Lakers.
Yeah, the Showtime Lakers. Yeah, but
yeah, man, like that was. It's never been that. Those guys were amazing.
Yeah.
And I think everybody had hoped that LeBron, given his skill, would come up. Pistons were better. All right, I guess. I'm not married to the game. I'm not. It's like you're not going to upset me with any kind of like, well, fuck you. This team was better. Like, all right, if you say so. I don't give a shit. Like sports ball isn't my thing, buddy. Whole
understanding of basketball comes from Magic Mike and Space Jam. So, like, is that relevant?
Magic Mike has basketball in it? Isn't that stripper movie?
Yeah, I think they play basketball in one of them.
That kid with the kid with the sneakers.
Are you talking like Mike?
Like Mike.
Oh, like Mike. Okay.
Where they like find the shoes that belong to Michael Jordan?
Shoes. He gets Michael Jordan shoes.
Oh, okay.
Star.
That's not Magic Mike. I'm thinking that there was some sort of basketball stripper going on. I was like, what? What's going on?
I wouldn't watch that.
So one of the things that LeBron's
wouldn't watch
is his production company is producing a new Space Jam movie.
Fuck yeah.
With who LeBron is?
That he's got a movie production company. That's why he moved to LA. That's why he chose the Lakers, is so he could do movies and all the other entertainment stuff, because Cleveland's just not happening. And
right.
he spends most of his life either in Cleveland or traveling, and he needed a home base somewhere where he could really get into these ventures. and start making even more money. And so, yeah, that's why he
Well,
moved.
from what I understand, he wants to follow in the footsteps of Magic Johnson in the sense that Magic went on from his basketball stardom to really develop himself financially in a business sense. Like he's well to do now because of business, not because of his football. Like sports celebrities tend to like either go the route of commentators or they buy a fucking used car sales used car lot, or and they sell used cars. Magic is one of the few that put his money away, invested, started businesses, learned how to be successful in that arena. And from what I've heard, LeBron kind of wants to. Magic's here, and he's involved with the Lakers in the back end from the management side, from what I understand. And LeBron wants access to him as a mentor.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, probably. But all right, enough sports ball.
How the fuck is Magic not dead yet? Because money.
He bathes in money. Remember, it's like the South Park episode.
Well, not only because of money, but because he caught it when it was just HIV.
HIV, not full-blown AIDS.
Yeah, it makes a fucking, and I guess that makes a huge damn difference. So,
well, it always starts as HIV, but you don't.
Right, but if you catch it when it's HIV,
they caught it early enough.
Real quick, segue. They cured the second person ever of AIDS.
I saw that.
Yeah, I hear that they're making headway in that regard.
There is hope for you. Yeah.
Dude, I'm too chubby to have AIDS. If I had AIDS, I'd be so much prettier. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I'd be way prettier. I mean, my lifespan would be a lot shorter, but hey, you gotta. Beauty is pain. Beauty is pain. That's right. So yeah, enough with that. We've done that now. Hang on. I'm going through my list. So other LA news. Check this out. This Canoga Park. Dude, our fucking politicians, as all of you already know, and some of you are here with me in this hellhole, Robin. California's crazy. Its politicians are crazy. This Democrat representative out of Canoga Park wants California, the state, to have its own Green New Deal. And he wants to establish that. Right. Yeah. I'm so, AOC was funny for a while, but the joke's over. Now I'm like, this needs to stop. Like, she needs to be stopped. Enough. And her whole, like, it's so funny that the people in her generation are I just don't feel like they're meant for or are ready.
Watch yourself.
For politics. No. I mean, here's the thing. She's got no respect for those who paved the way. She has no respect for her own office, let alone the office of those who she works with. It's just and this craziness that's spreading from her ideas, her fucking stupid ideas. I don't know. I have a problem with it. So this guy wants to shut down a bunch of fucking fast food restaurants. he wants to shut down In-N-Out and McDonald's. He's blaming I guess greenhouse gases and global warming on these fires. He's saying that our towns are burning down because we're not doing anything about it. So he wants to declare a state national emergency based on global warming. When in fact, it just came out recently that the LA Department of Water and Power and I think it was Edison or the other electric, whatever the other one is, came out and took ownership of the Malibu fire that happened not too long ago. Apparently another one too. Like, we've been having a lot of fires, and apparently they're responsible. So it's just so funny to me. Like, it seems like our state politicians refuse to face up to the reality of things and instead focus on really stupid, inane shit, or just come up with completely, BS, reasons for whatever's going on. Like, instead of actually focusing on why the fires are happening, instead we blame global warming, and then we say let's ban plastic straws. Like, that's gonna fucking do anything. We've got, dude. I think I read down in San Diego, they're finding needles everywhere because of that free needle fucking program that we got going out. That wonderful needle program that they had in several cities here, where they're handing out free needles in order to prevent the spread of diseases among the degenerates and the fucking crack addicted and homeless. And what's happening is these people are fucking just leaving them on the streets. They're finding needles inside books in libraries. Are you fucking kidding me? And this is just this state. I hate this state. I hate these people.
The wall includes California.
What's that?
I propose that the wall includes California.
I agree.
Yeah, I support this idea.
Do you know why your forest fires are so fucking bad besides the drought?
Oh, yeah, I want to talk about that too, but go ahead.
Your forest fires are really fucking bad because your state and the United States does not properly prune its national forests.
Oh.
And you have that issue because the trees are dying in a way that is insane. And they're dead trees that are still standing, and it's just standing kindling.
You're talking about how we don't apply controlled fires.
No,
controlled
you don't
burns.
apply controlled fires. It's not that. It's that your forests are standing kindling even without a controlled burn. Your controlled burns would get out of control because they haven't taken care of the woodland.
Correct.
Yeah.
The fuel load, basically, when you don't have cleared out forests like that, when you have dead trees that fall and everything like that, the fuel load becomes so high on the floor of the forest that any fire will then reach the canopy. In a healthy forest, you don't have as much, and so when you get the fires that are natural and are going to come through, they burn off the ground layer, but they do not get high enough to set the entire thing on fire. And that has happened more because of environmental restrictions, also because of putting out, as you did mention, Josh, not allowing controlled burns or allowing some fires to go. But now, of course, it's at a point where it's pretty much impossible to allow any fire to go because there's so much of a fuel load there that they will always get out of control.
Yeah. Deforestation, you're killing our forest. No, you're taking out the shit that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, no, well, let's also not forget that our politicians out here are fucking stupid. So Jerry Brown, while he was still governor here, decided that after 5 years of drought, that this was the new normal. And there was a ton of money earmarked to build reservoirs to catch rainwater. And he just took that money and invested it elsewhere. I believe in the now defunct high-speed rail project that they had, which was a fucking money sink. So they never built any of these reservoirs because they were saying this is a new normal, right? We're never going to get rain, which is fucking retarded. And now we're getting record amounts, record amounts of rain.
And all the horses are dying.
Tons of water just washed away. Like we didn't catch any of it. Because we don't have the fucking reservoirs. I hate these people. I hate their stupid policies. I hate their stupid faces. I want to punch them, and I want to force them to build reservoirs, and like the tyrants of old, kill them and bury them underneath the foundation of the reservoirs. Like, I want that. That's what I want. I want to be able to look. I want to take my children or grandchildren to a reservoir and point down to it and go, "You see that, Jimmy? That's the Jerry Brown Reservoir right there." he's right down there somewhere. Yep, right around there.
I love that.
I watched him put him there. Like, I want that so badly. But we're not gonna have that. So,
my favorite thing that has come out of the California drought was the ABC 6 News nightly thing that I watched on a company that sprouted up painting lawns green.
Oh my God!
Oh, I had a girlfriend whose mother would do that instead of they were recommending.
You were allowed to use environmentally friendly paint and paint your lawn green because you weren't allowed to water the grass.
Correct. I watched her spray paint. I watched her fucking spray paint her front lawn. It was the wildest thing I've ever seen. I was like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me right now. This is a thing. This is real. I don't believe this, but it was fucking real, man. I don't get it."
Your story will stick with me forever. Like, that is how I think of California.
Yeah, that's a good way to feel. It's not a bad way to feel at all. So, our governor right now, Gavin Newsom, during the midterm elections here in California during the last midterms, we voted on a gas tax. There was a lot of hullabaloo about this. Essentially, California has been dealing with an influx, a surplus in the state budget annually. Like, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And Jerry Brown came out and said, "We don't have enough money to fix all the roads," because the roads here are atrocious. Like, our infrastructure is atrocious. Our fucking dams are falling apart when it fucking rains. We don't have reservoirs. There's potholes the size of fucking Subarus. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ludicrous how such a, they tout how we're the 5th largest GDP in the fucking world. Well, you wouldn't know it driving up and down this goddamn state. And they're with this annual surplus, and I'm talking 15 years where it just keeps increasing. They get more and more money, and Jerry Brown comes and says, "Oh, we don't have enough money to fix the roads, so we're going to need to tax you some more. We're going to increase the gas tax by 11%, and we're going to basically double your registration fees, and tack on a couple other kinds of fees." So, but it's all for you, and it's for the roads, and we need to build the roads. We don't have enough money. And people went, "That's bullshit. You do have enough money, and you're using it for stupid shit like the high-speed rail. So go fuck yourself and use the money the way it's that you have, the way it's supposed to be. This is my money. Keep your hands out my pockets." And we had a midterm election, and how the fuck we didn't vote against it successfully is why I think there's no way that the elections in the state aren't fucking rigged. Like, if you told somebody, "Hey, would you like the government to take more of your money than it already does?" Who fucking says, yeah, that sounds good. I'd like that. I would like them to take more of my money. Yes, please. And yet, the majority of the fucking state voted exactly that way.
Yeah.
And I don't fucking buy it. I don't fucking buy it. Not for a second. Not only that, but the few Republicans we did have, they fucking ousted. We got like one Republican in California representatives. The whole state is fucking Democrat, and yet people are leaving in droves, and the people who are left here are complaining. So who the fuck is voting that way? There's just a lot to that. That's a whole nother story.
I don't know if this explains that phenomenon, but there is a large amount of people that when you ask, would you be willing to pay more in taxes? They say no. But then it's like, okay, should we raise taxes on the ultra wealthy? Then they'll say yes.
Yes.
So
exactly.
People are very generous with not their own money, which is why
that's true.
I propose a tax that is like 90% tax rate on the ultra wealthy, who specifically the ones who call for higher taxes on the rich.
Yes,
exactly.
Like, tax
what
them,
the fuck is keeping
not
them
the
from
other rich
giving
people
it?
that have any kind of common sense. But it's like, okay, if you're calling for higher taxes, you lead the way. All right.
We had something here. I guess it was 2 years ago in our little town. They voted on a bond issue to spend like $38 million on a big athletic complex, new football field, practice fields, tennis courts and stuff for the high school and everything like that. Now, keep in mind, the population of our town is 4,200. The number of children going to school is going down. And they passed a $38 million bond for this bullshit because people most people don't see, they couch it in terms, your property taxes will only go up this much more than they already were going to go up anyway. Like, that's fine. And people who rent don't seem to understand that they actually pay property taxes as part of their rent and that their rent will go up. So I've always thought that you should, if you vote on a bond, only people who vote yes should get to pay for it.
Yeah, I agree. Betty, you said that California was number 5, presently number 7. Actually, it went back up to number 5. I read that last year, about 2 months. So like around October or November is when I read that. So unless it dropped again, I understand that it did go up to number 7, but that was like early 2000s. It went back up to number 5. I think it was because of the increase in money from Hollywood and Silicon Valley. And as far as I know, like, that's another thing. Over 80% of the state taxes is paid, or no, I think it's even higher than that. I think it's like 90% or more of the state taxes are paid by less than 1% of its population. So, I mean, that's crazy. Like,
yep.
and we, we want to be a sanctuary state, and like, who are these people? I swear to God, and they want to increase the taxes on the wealthy here, and I don't know how we're going to manage to keep those people here. If the richest 1% leave California, this state will fucking fall apart.
I mean, that's what happened in Detroit. Like, I mean, Detroit used to have all of the major auto manufacturers, and then they started taxing the crap out of them, and they left. And now it's just the poor people there who are stuck under these absurdly high tax rates. And
I mean, one positive thing is that California is beautiful, and we're a coastal state. So even if they leave, like, there will still be people who want to be here, or who will end up coming here. Like, it's just pretty. Detroit's Detroit. Like,
right?
like it's just, Michigan's all right, I guess, but it's not, California's fucking gorgeous. So
only as long as you're there, baby.
Oh,
Aww.
Good God. I love that cheese. I fucking love that cheese. I love it when you lie. So, but yeah, so where was I with this whole thing? The reason I brought up the taxes is because they did increase our gas tax, and now that we're being taxed for that, our new governor, Gavin Newsom, is threatening cities by saying he will take away, like he will not share the revenue from those gas tax from that gas tax with those cities if they do not increase the amount of affordable housing being built in their city. As if there's right. As if the city somehow controls that. Like that's a private sector issue. They can certainly approve it.
It's never. Hold on. No, they never consider it a private sector issue. They don't consider the fact that one of the main drivers of unaffordable housing is very simply a lack of supply, and the lack of supply comes around because of zoning and other things. Like in San Francisco, of course, is the biggest example of all. I mean, your neighbors can veto what you build in San Francisco. Your neighbors can put a halt to you building a home of some sort. It's just insane. And so instead they want to force municipalities to spend tax dollars to build affordable housing. And Austin is becoming that way.
Like these cities don't have the money for. See, you want them to spend money they don't have, and you're threatening to keep money that could help them if they don't, meet these regional housing targets set by the state. But they can't be enforced. How do you enforce them? You can't force somebody to build. Like cities can't go around saying you have to build this.
They can actually. They can force you to do it by.
I mean, how can a city come to a private sector person, because that's who's building housing and all of that, right? Like there's no, unless you're talking about HUD, right? Like government housing. But the cities don't have money for that. Like isn't that federal?
Yeah, HUD is federal.
Right.
But they work with local people too. They give the money to the states and everything else like that. So it's a state federal partnership, like pretty much everything that the feds do.
But if you've got some guy who wants to build housing, I guess the city can say, well, you will approve that if you build affordable housing too. But you can't.
Exactly.
He can simply say, well, then I'll build somewhere else, which is what I imagine would happen. Like you can't, unless you're talking about under threat of gun, which is some fucking mafia racketeering shit, you're going to build this fucking housing. Like, what power do the cities have to do this?
In some places in New Jersey right now, is that
really?
The state, because New Jersey is really, really segregated as a state, because we're segregated by town based on income, at its purest level. Like I told you on the phone the other night, we paid $15,000 in property taxes for a meager square of property because our town was super white and super high income. And so the state of New Jersey, it's true. The state of New Jersey is actually taking kids from lower income areas and busing them 3-4 counties over to balance out the segregation issue in public schools.
TC Boggs says California does have a housing crisis. Even people making a decent living are becoming homeless. That's not because there aren't any houses. It's because it's too expensive to fucking live here.
Which they create.
It's not a housing crisis. It's a financial crisis. It's an income crisis. It's a cost of living crisis
that leads to the existing supply being absurdly expensive.
Yeah.
Like you can't say it's because there aren't any houses there. You can't say it's because of it's not because of a lack of supply, because it is. Like that's the root cause. Is these burdensome regulations and price controls just either outright prevent or at the very least disincentivize people from building new either apartment buildings or houses.
Not only disincentivizes people from building houses or new ones or new apartment buildings, condos, what have you. Right. TC Bob says, dude, I worked with a guy that had to commute from Victorville to Fontana, and he makes $80K a year, and he's barely making it. Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's not that there's not houses here. The cost of living, the cost of a house, and the cost of living here in the state is absolutely ludicrous. You have to make I remember this was like a year or two ago. They were talking about in Orange County, which is an affluent conservative county comparatively. I mean, as conservative as it gets here in California, I guess. If you make under, what was it, like $175K a year, then you're considered below. You fall under the poverty category. Like you could apply for state benefits if you make less than that. I swear to God. I swear to fucking God.
I believe it.
It's just, it's insane. What's that?
Would you say like the income threshold for that was?
I want to say it was like 170, but I could be wrong.
So you can make 6 figures and still qualify for like financial aid.
Yeah.
Or like you're considered poor by California standards. That's wild.
Was it 170 or was it 70? 120K is the poverty line in San Francisco. Maybe it was 170 then. Jesus, that's insane, dude. It's just insane. I gotta get the fuck out of here. So Gavin Newsom's an asshole. He's trying to withhold money from cities, and that's a fucking dick move. And he's at least admitted that the high-speed rail project is a failure. Like it just doesn't make it's not going to work. They can't build it. But they came to the government and got federal funds to start that project to the tune of like several million. And it hinges on the project being finished. Well, Newsom came out and said, we're just going to build from Shitsville to who gives a fuckville. Like I forget what the cities are, but it's 2 cities that nobody fucking goes to. And those 2 cities aren't bustling metropolises. They're like out in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't like it's absolutely ludicrous to have a high-speed rail where nobody is and nobody cares and nobody's using it and it doesn't make any sense. But he's like, we're gonna build this little stretch instead of this whole stretch that money that they got from requires them to finish the project as they stated it. So if he doesn't do that, that money is required to be paid back to the government. Like, give us our money back. We gave that to you for this. If you're not going to do that, you have to give it back. And now Newsom is trying to, make himself look good by saying, I'm not giving it back to Trump. So this is, I fucking hate the state. I think Newsom is stupid. I really, Governor Nuisance. Governor Useless, call him what you want. I fucking, California is crazy, and this is what's going on in my state. So I just wanted to go through some of that.
All right, real quick, now that you're done on that rant, I gotta go inside. So good night, friends.
Good night.
Night, Nicole.
Missed you guys.
You too. Night, girl.
Always miss you, pony girl. Love that girl. Infatuated. So I recently learned that February had the highest total of undocumented immigrants crossing the U.S. border in 12 years. It was also the highest single month total since Trump was elected in 2016. So, I mean, for all these Democrats like Pelosi who are saying, we don't have a crisis. Like, this is not a good month for them. The numbers say otherwise. I don't understand. And this brings us to the point of the national emergency. And the, what is it? The Congress is trying to pass that motion to, I guess, deny the state of emergency declaration that Trump has placed or declared, which I guess this is what I don't understand. Some conservatives or Republicans are coming out and are going to vote to have that motion pass, so it'll then be taken to the House where it'll die. But it's just curious to me, like, why would you vote against it? I guess I don't understand that part. Like, Rand Paul is supposed to vote to pass this motion, and I don't understand where he's coming from with that. Like,
You don't?
You tend to be on the opposite end of things with me, so maybe you can understand.
Yeah, no, he's doesn't want the. He's a very libertarian Republican, so he believes in smaller government and strict separation of powers. In his mind, hold on, let me finish. In his mind, because I follow him on Facebook.
Okay.
In his mind, Congress has not allocated the funds. He thinks that National Emergency Act, of course, or whatever it was called, is a horrible, horrible thing that should be repealed. And so he can't, in good conscience, vote for it. And I completely agree with him. I would not support it either.
So it's not because he doesn't believe that we need a wall or that we need border enforcement.
Correct.
It's simply a matter of principle that this isn't the way to do this.
Yes, exactly. I think Justin Amash is, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I think he may be on that same side as well. I'm not sure. Haven't seen, but he's, Thomas Massey. I think there's several guys who are very similar, very libertarian in their thinking, and really believe in separation of powers and not giving presidents, undue authority and giving up congressional authority by giving it to the president. They think it's a terrible idea, and so they're going to oppose it regardless of whether they agree with what needs to be done. They think it should be done in the proper manner, going through Congress and doing that.
Oh, Rick, we will talk about that in a minute. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Joel. I'm catching up on the show chat. So yeah, I guess I kind of understand that. I mean, I do understand that, but I feel like we're at a point where that ability exists, and fuck it, might as well use it while we have somebody in office who will, and will get the job done, because they're irrational. They're fighting against this instead of compromising to get some to find a middle ground. Instead, they're completely, whatever you want, we're against it. We're going to vote against whatever it is. It doesn't matter if it's the right thing. It doesn't matter if it makes sense. It doesn't matter if it's a partisan issue that we can agree on. If you say yes, we're going to say no. If you say black, we're going to say white. What do you do? I can get by. I understand that, yes, this is probably not the best way to go about it. What other way is there? All right, then. So I guess that's where we're at with that. But then irrational people will abuse that power, man of house. They already have been. Like,
that's why you get rid of the power. You don't keep it going. You get rid of it.
Great. I agree with you. Get rid of it. But while it's still there, I'm totally supporting Trump and using it. It's not like
that is the wrong attitude to have, because then you're basically saying, as long as my guy's in power, it's okay. And that's a complete lack of conviction.
I didn't like it when fucking Obama used it. And he used it liberally.
Yeah. So why would you want somebody else to use it?
Well,
support getting rid of it. Support getting rid of it instead.
I do support getting rid of it. I do.
You have to be principled about it.
Support getting rid of it. But while it's still there, I would like that. I would like border enforcement. And if that's the only way we're going to get it, and it's an option on the table, fuck it, use it.
Yeah,
I know
is a
that. I
debate
know
to be
that's.
had on whether it's a legitimate use, whether it constitutes a national emergency. Like I can definitely see the argument for it. I can also see the argument that it's not, because slow rolling crises like this, it's hard to describe them as crises. Just because typically when you think national emergency, you think like, oh, there's this immediate unforeseen threat, whereas this has been an issue for years. It's just nobody's dealt with it until now. But like the actual
Well, wouldn't that
magnitude of
constitute
the
a
problem-
national emergency? It's a
Yeah,
problem we've
that's
been
the argument,
facing that
is, like-
nobody's done anything about.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, is it's just as much of a threat to our country. And you can definitely make that case. On the other side, you can easily make the case that, okay, well, if we've had time to deal with this, why can't we just deal with it, through congressional means instead of executive?
Right. And I would love for that to be the case. And I really feel like, I don't know why Nicole G is saying HOA with a question mark.
I was talking to Rick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would you allow your child to be a member of the House, assuming they are 18, of course? A member of what house? Oh,
Ours.
a member of the HOA.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, it would depend on the child and what type of relationship I had with them, and if I was cool with them seeing everything I put in there. But
Homeowners Association. No. But I've heard that joke made before, so.
I mean, you're the one that chose the name.
I am the one that chose it, and I knew going into it. I knew that would be a possibility, a potential joke that I would have to face. And lo and behold, I was right.
Here we are.
But I did it anyway. I was like, I don't care. That's fine. If the worst you can say is Homeowners Association, like then, yeah, I'm fine with that. So anyway, I guess we've probably we finished that topic. We don't need to talk about that anymore. Moving on, let's talk about movies. Let's talk about entertainment. Let's talk about shows first. I know, Rick, you want to get to a movie, and we'll talk about that. But first, there's some shows that finished up that I wanted to talk about last time, but I didn't get a chance. Or that I remember. I could be wrong. What was the name of that show? True Detective finished up.
We still haven't watched it yet, so
no problem. No spoilers.
Spoilers. Okay.
I will say this, that it comes to a point where you figure you've reached the end, and for me, I felt at that moment in the finale, I felt unsatisfied. I felt like it was hollow. I felt like it wasn't enough. It just didn't fulfill. It didn't. I mean, it tied things up, but it was like, wow, this is hollow. But they continue on, and that was surprising to me. The ending. I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard people say that they found the ending confusing. I didn't. I guess it's left up to interpretation. I found it quite poetic, and it gave me that substance that it filled that emptiness that I felt previously. They did a good job. It was a good show. I'm sold on that Mahershala. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name.
No idea how to pronounce that guy's name. It's a tough one.
I think it's Mahershala or Mahershala. It's got to be Mahershala.
Mahershala. Shala. It's Shala. That's I've heard that once. So yeah, go with the Shala.
It is Shala?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I heard it once.
I enjoyed that show very well. I Am the Night finished up. I really like that show, but I recommend, as much as I recommend everyone watch that show, because it was highly entertaining, and it's quite the the mind fuck from start to finish. I definitely recommend you look into the actual story, because there is some serious poetic license being used in that show, in a lot of ways. Like the lead character played by Chris Pine, as far as I know, doesn't actually exist. Like, he's just a vehicle to push the story along. There's events that happen in the show that, as far as I know, never took place in real life. Like I said, there's a lot of they embellish a lot, but when you look into what the actual story is, it's still quite a fucking wild story. Like, it's still unbelievable. So definitely recommend it. Good show. Good fucking show. Doom Patrol is going on strong. I enjoy it. I'll watch anything with Brendan Fraser. I love that guy. I'm just glad to see him doing something again. Yeah, The Watchmen is coming out soon, I think. And Game of Thrones is coming back next month, huh?
Yes,
Anybody
indeed.
excited for that?
Oh God,
I'm
yeah.
so excited. They just came out with a trailer, a 2-minute trailer for it. I watched that.
See, I never watch trailers like that because I never want to know what's coming.
He will plug his ears up and close his eyes if a trailer comes out.
Yep, I will.
You won't see it.
I will, because I have it's an unfortunate thing. I have a generally a very good memory anyway, but when it comes to movies and things like that, like, it'll just stick with me, and I'll just be like, oh yeah, this is about to happen. God damn it. So yeah, if it's something I'm really interested in, then I'll try to avoid trailers altogether.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess sometimes, yeah, I don't know. I enjoy the trailer. It gives me, I expect most of the time that a trailer is just that. It's just a teaser. It doesn't give you the whole story. It doesn't give away everything. Every once in a while, there's a movie that comes out, and the 4 minutes in the trailer is all the highlights in the fucking movie, and you're like, I didn't need to watch this 2-hour fucking piece of shit. I just needed to watch the trailer. But I think that's a rarity. I think most of the time trailers are, I don't know, they're fun. I enjoy them. And I enjoyed this one, so I can't wait for the new season. I was pissed.
Do any of y'all read the books?
I have not read the books.
Yeah, I've read all the books. Game of Thrones.
I've heard they're good.
No, they're fantastic.
Yeah. I hated the fourth book, Feast for Crows. It sucked a big fat cock. But other than that, they were all pretty good. Dance with Dragons, the last one was okay. But God, the fourth one I just really fucking hated. I had a hard time getting through it. But yeah, the books are really good, though, overall. I mean, it's still a good book, just compared to the third one, which was amazing and the best in the series. The fourth was, I did not enjoy it.
Huh, I'll have to check them out. My apologies, pardon me. So Rick wants to talk about, and I do too, he wants to talk about the new Captain Marvel movie. Now, there's some controversy with that. I haven't seen it yet. It's out, right? I think it just came out.
No, it comes out Friday.
Oh, Friday. It's Friday. Okay. So I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about another movie that's connected to, sort of, in my opinion, Captain Marvel, and that is Alita: Battle Angel, which is out and which I have seen twice already. Now, for anybody not familiar with the controversy behind Captain Marvel, there's a number of things. Number one, Brie Larson, who plays Captain Marvel, has come out publicly on Twitter and in interviews online and in articles as being kind of hostile towards the fan base, saying she doesn't want anybody, she doesn't want white men to dominate the premiere, and this isn't a movie for men, and just a lot of the leftist SJW kind of propaganda you would expect. She's just been she's not been good PR. I mean, especially when you consider how Gal Gadot or Gad, I assume that's how you pronounce her last name.
Gadot.
Yeah, Gadot.
She played Wonder Woman. She did an amazing job of promoting that movie in interviews and in articles. She never went against the fan base. It was a movie for everyone, but she promoted, she highlighted, without denigrating men, she highlighted how this was a movie not just for women and young girls, but for everyone. And it was. Brie is very much the opposite. She's doing everything the opposite that Gal Gadot did, and it's showing. I mean, the projections initially for its opening weekend were something like 180 million, and then it dropped to 150, and then it dropped to 100, and now it's down to like 80. Like they keep lowering their expectations, and I think a lot of it has to do with this SJW leftist kind of approach to things, which is definitely what Captain Marvel's doing, and they're touting it like it's the first ever fucking female protagonist ever. No sci-fi. Sci-fi's never had a female protagonist like this before, or there's never been a superhero female protagonist. What the fuck are you talking about? Bitch, there's been female protagonists. Do you not remember Princess Leia from fucking 30 years ago? That bitch held her own. God damn it. Yeah, Ripley, thank you. There's plenty. Anyway.
Wonder Woman, just what, a year and a half ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Like not that long ago.
Yeah, and there's been other ones they just happen to suck, like Catwoman and other things. But yeah, they
my god, yeah.
And I was reading a review of it in the Telegraph today, and he gave it 4 out of 5 stars, right? And rather than actually focusing on the movie and if the movie was any good, he was just talking about how it's so wonderful to have a female thing. He mentioned Wonder Woman in passing, but it was like, oh, it's so empowering, this woman. Da, 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 da. Like, oh, so the movie probably sucks.
You're reviewing the fact that it's about a woman. You're not reviewing the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, how about Vasquez from fucking Aliens? I mean, that bitch was as bad as they come.
Guys, anytime there's a strong female protagonist, we should only expect it to be 77% as good.
Oh. Now here's the thing. I will probably see it, not in the theaters, but I grew up reading comics. I was a geek, so I will end up seeing this. I probably won't like it. I mean, I watched. I expect the same kind of lackluster experience that I got from Black Panther. Black Panther was hyped up as this amazing thing. And I waited, and I saw it, and I was not impressed. I mean, honestly, compared to a lot of the other, movies in the MCU, the Marvel Comics universe of movies, compared to a lot of the other ones, it was kind of, it fell flat. I mean, it was all right, but it just. I wasn't excited by it. Like, I remember...
I thought it was good. I thought it was decent. Like, was it above average for Marvel? No, it was pretty average. Solid 7
I mean, average at best, in my opinion. I remember seeing Guardians of the Galaxy, and I fucking saw that thing 3 times in the movie theaters because it was so good. I mean, it's standard now. A lot of the tricks and the format and the approach that they've used several times since. But Guardians was kind of revolutionary in what they did with that movie and how they did it at the time. It came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting anything from that movie, and it turned out to be a blockbuster. It was amazing, and I loved it. It's not what I'm expecting at all from fucking Captain Marvel. It seems like they've spent more time promoting it via propaganda, more time, money, and effort in the propaganda of it
And like,
then I imagine
I was
they
talking about
did in
this
the
with my
actual
friend
making
this
of the
past
film.
weekend, and like I brought up like, okay, she's even gone so far as to say she's not going to interview with men, or she's like she's going to decline some
it's getting
interviewers to promote the movie
ridiculous.
just because they're men. Like, and what I said was like, you can be pro-woman without being anti-man.
Correct.
And there was
Exactly.
nothing wrong if she wanted to, you know, deliberately go out and seek, you know, high-profile women in the media and say, hey, I want to do an interview with you to promote this movie. Great, go for it. I don't care. But when you say like, I'm gonna expressly not, you know, do interviews because I don't want men to have anything to do with this, it's like, okay, well, I don't want anything to do with your movie then. Like, I was like looking forward to this because Marvel has a good record, and like
well,
this was
not only
probably going to
that-
be a good movie. But the way you're talking about this, it's just like, no, I don't want to. Like, even if it is a good movie, I don't want to support it. You know, like.
And here's my issue with that. The thinking there, I don't. I find that mind-boggling from a business perspective, because how are you not taking into account that the majority of people interested in comics and anything related to comic books, movies, and otherwise are men, boys, or men? People who women typically aren't. Not to say that no women are, but obviously, on average, more men than women are your audience. That's your base for this kind of stuff. And for you to target them and oust them and denigrate them, it makes no sense from a business perspective. I don't understand it.
I think
it's really stupid.
Weird idea that any discrepancy must mean discrimination. Like, okay, more, you know, what you say is true. More men are into these comic book movies. Oh, well, that must mean because they're sexist in some way. So we got to fight that by bashing.
How does being in? Well,
like,
see
that
it's
fundamentally
train
wrong.
of thought doesn't make sense to me either, because how does being into comics? How is being into comics sexist?
It's not. But again, it stems from like, I mean, you see the same thing in like, you know, that's the reason the wage gap is still believed in, is because
which is fucking retarded.
They think like, oh, well, you know, more women are teachers, you know, whereas more men are, you know, in STEM fields. Well, that must be because STEM fields are racist or are sexist, which is absurd. No, it's just the matter is women just make different choices, and when taken as a group, you know, unless you can actually point to actual sexism, there's nothing there.
Right. Now, I want to talk about James Cameron's new movie, which came out recently, just the other day. Battle Angel Alita. I don't know if anybody else has seen it. I have. And hold on, I'm trying to find her name. Rosa Salazar is the lead actress. I didn't even know. Here was a sleeper thing. I'm a huge, like, I've had a crush on Jennifer Connelly since I was a kid, since fucking Labyrinth. Like, I've wanted to live inside that woman's body since I was a kid. And she was a pleasant surprise in this movie. She's in the movie. I won't say any more than that, but she's in the movie. This moved very different way, and it's kind of been in the shadow of Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel has been pushing hard to get its name and get its product put out there and have everybody see it. I don't feel like Battle Angel was promoted nearly as hard. However, the approach they took was far better, in my opinion. And the movie should stand on its own, man. It is fucking amazing. This movie, to give you an idea of the difference in approach that I'm talking about, you've got Brie Larson saying, I don't want men involved in this. Fuck men. While the producers for Battle Angel, Alita, promoted their movie by providing a girl with a free prosthetic, like top of the line, like a brand new prototype of some sort. And she's been going around like showing everybody, like they just gave it to her. Yeah, she was missing her, I think it's her right arm. What's that?
The free market provides.
Right? Like, I mean, I can't think of a better way. Like, it's humanitarian. Sure, it's a fucking marketing stunt, but it worked for me. Like, I was like, that's pretty cool. But then again, I'm a diehard fan because this is something I grew up with. For those who don't know, this is a live action version of a anime that came out in the 80s, like mid 80s. But this is the stuff I grew up with. I remember late 80s, early 90s when anime started becoming more prominent in the comic book stores. There was a comic book store near me that rented out movies. And these movies were new here, but old where they were made. Akira. I remember the first time I saw Akira, I was like 11. I was blown away, man. That movie still stands up compared to the anime that's coming out today. I don't know how some of these anime that are made today, like I'm really not a fan of the anime of today because it doesn't really have the substance that they did then. You can make the argument that the artwork has progressed. Sure, I'm sure it has, but the storytelling and the vision and the imagination that went into those stories, like Akira and Battle Angel, which admittedly I rewatched Alita Battle Angel, the original hour-long anime. It's kind of hokey. I mean, it's still cool because it's got that nostalgia attached to it, but it's like, well, this is kind of cheesy. The fight scenes were great, and you can obviously see that was the highlight, the focus. The rest of it kind of that's what everything else about the story kind of hinged on. These badass fucking fight scenes with this tiny little female, who's killing everybody. It was kind of cool. They went above and beyond with the film, and in my opinion, it gives you a juxtaposition. It gives you. I can't wait to actually see Captain Marvel to be able to compare the two, because of the lack of marketing, in my opinion, that went with Alita Battle Angel. I didn't expect much. I guess I should have expected more because James Cameron and fucking what's his name, Jackson, the guy who did the Kong movies, and he did before that he did the Peter Jackson, right? Is that, do I have his name right?
Yeah.
Those two were the primary the producers on this project, and the CGI that went into this was groundbreaking. Apparently, like, they did some things that have never been done before. I watched you can go on YouTube and kind of watch, like, there's 20 or 30 minute snippet clips of the behind the scenes where it shows you what Rosa Salazar had to do to fucking do to act these scenes out. She had to wear this suit, and it had all this headgear attached to it. I mean, it was fucking, in order to get the face, because they did her face up, which is obvious if you've seen the trailer, like her eyes are too big and everything, and that was on purpose. And I remember when I first heard about that, I thought, well, that's gonna be stupid. It's not. It really isn't. It works. And it's a larger than life movie. It really is. Like, it, after I finished watching it, I was like, how the fuck did I think it was going to be anything other than grand, given that fucking God damn it, I just said his name and I forgot his name. What's his fucking name? Not Peter Jackson, but the other guy. James Cameron. Everything he does, like, this is the Avatar guy. And this is the guy who's like, let me spend more money than God on a movie. And now I'm going to make Battle Angel. It's fucking amazing. I cannot sing its praises enough. On top of that, it gives a female protagonist who is not a Mary Sue. She's not given everything. As powerful and as badass as she is in the film, she is flawed, and she faces actual trials and tribulations. She struggles, and so she's obviously not a Mary Sue. Like, there's some real, for a movie based on a fucking anime from 30 years ago, there's so much went into this film. It's really good. I can't recommend it enough, and I feel like this is the movie Captain Marvel wants to be, but can't be, because it just didn't come from the right place. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I don't know if you follow Neon Taster on Twitter.
I don't know who that is or what that is.
He's a famous, like, political account. But
Bye, dogs.
His theory regarding Captain Marvel is that the movie itself is actually, like, really mainstream and not this feminist SJW thing. But Brie Larson is basically trying to pander to that audience to get them to see it, because otherwise it won't have the impact that she feels she wants it to.
Oh, really?
Like, the movie itself is just fine. That's his theory, obviously. Like, it hasn't come out yet, so no one can say for sure. But
I don't know. I feel like it gives you glimpses of some of the SJW propaganda that you can that I imagine you can expect from that film in the trailers, in that if you take the character of Samuel L. Jackson's character, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., what's his fucking name? The guy with the one eye? Nick Fury, thank you. God, I'm horrible with names. Anyway, Nick Fury, his character in all the other MCU movies that he's in, he's a very confident, independent, kind of a hard ass, kind of a badass kind of dude. It is the way that character is portrayed. And in this, he kind of very much like he's not that, where she kind of not denigrates. She mocks and kind of humiliates him, and then he's down there playing with a kitty while she's like, "Come on, let's go." You know what I mean? Like, it's a different feel for the character.
I mean, it is set in the 90s though, so maybe
those two characters is maybe indicative of
the character, like, before he became this, total bad A, but.
Well, he's already an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, here's the thing. The character itself, from the source material, has been a badass since World War II. Because Nick Fury was Sergeant Fury back during the Second World War. Everything went quiet for Adam. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, I guess you're not really hearing me say that. I get to make fun of you and you don't know what I'm saying. That's so fun. But yeah, so I don't know. I could be wrong, but the glimpses that I see in the trailer don't bode well as far as this theory that you're talking about of it being a mainstream film. I hope you're right, though. I think it would be great if all of our, my expectations of it being a shit film are completely wrong. I'd love for that to be the case. It's set before the events of the main MCU. That is correct. It is. Rick, would you like to be unmuted? Did you want to say some things about it? Because I know you wanted to talk about it. Okay. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that particular subject. Go see Alita. It's fucking amazing. I don't know who this Rosa Salazar is, but man, I really enjoyed. Not only did I enjoy her performance in the film, but I went because I didn't know who she was. I decided to look her up, and then I watched a couple of like TV interviews she gave, or there's like a little YouTube compilation of her like doing interviews or being on shows talking about it, and she's just a funny girl. She seems like a really down to earth person, so I like her. Far more approachable than Brie Larson, that's for sure. Did you look her up on MrSkin.com? I don't even know what MrSkin.com is. I want to click on that right now, but I'm doing a show. God damn it! What is that? What's MrSkin.com? It's porn, isn't it? I know it's porn.
For once, you're the naive one.
I know, right? I'm excited by this. So, all right. So that was.
We finally found something naughty that I know what it is and Auger doesn't.
Oh, for real? You know what it is?
History, folks.
All right. So, oh yeah, there's this AOC thing. McIntyre brought this up. Hang on, let me find this picture. I don't know the depth of this, how serious this is, if it's real. I haven't done any research yet, but I just posted a pic that Mac shared earlier in one of our chats. Apparently, her chief of staff and she are looking at possible serious prison sentences over major violations in election law. Coordinating with a PAC that supports human in election is illegal. AOC ran the PAC, which is worse than coordinating with a PAC. AOC denies violations. Of course, she's going to deny them. Whether that means they happened or not is neither here nor there. I don't know. I mean, this kind of makes me. Do you think it's true? Do you think that's? I mean, it seems like something.
It's very well could be true. Whether or not anything actually happens besides fines is very unlikely.
Why do you feel that's the case?
Because they're just not going to do that to her.
Why aren't they? She's brand new.
People do campaign violations a lot, and usually you end up with fines. Like the Obamas were fined.
All the time.
Yeah, they were fined. I mean,